So the feds know everything that's going on in your community. Know everything that's going on in your city. They know who the main men are. They know who's not the main man. They know who's got things on the case, who hasn't got people on the case. They know everything, absolutely everything. Just because they don't kick doors in and arrest people doesn't mean they don't know what they're doing. Some people are valuable within the community to be left. You know, especially these people that sit on the fence. You misunderstood you misunderstand the amount of intelligence that these people, the people that sit on the fence, they're under obs more than most. Why? Because they link up with different people in different organised crime groups. So if I was to watch that horrible cunt that sits on the fence, but is mates with this group, and I watched him for 6 months, I would see him link up with all sorts of people in 6 different groups. Whereas if I was just watching that kid from that group, I'd only be getting intel on that group. Do you understand? My man, the kid that sits on the fence, we've had his phone bugged for a year. We've been listening through his phone for a year. And we mightn't gather information that's going to proceed onto a conviction against someone. But we're not after that with this kid that sits on the fence. We just want the intel. We want to know who's bringing what in. We want to know who's going where and what's going where. If there's a murder on the street, we want to know the name that's being mentioned for this murder. So they'll leave people like the kid that sits on the fence to mingle. He won't know. He won't know he's the snitch. Do you understand what I'm saying? He won't know he's being used like a snitch. Do you understand? But he'll be going to Paul, who's in conflict with Peter. And then he'll be going to John, who's in conflict with Sean. And he's sitting in the car with Sean while his shit's all bugged up. And then he's sitting in the car with John down there a few weeks later and his shit's bugged up. And then he's sitting there and all them conversations, you're establishing all sorts just from the conversations. Do you understand what I mean? Don't think it doesn't happen, lad. I've been screaming at you for years. I found out in prison that they used, in my court case was the first time I ever heard H-I-R. First time I've ever heard of this phrase, and H-I-R. And I was thinking, what the f this? And what they doing in my court case, they had a PII hearing, public immunity interest. So in other words, if what the police and the barristers want to say, if that was said in open court, it can make the public at risk or something. So they keep it in the court, in the back room of the court with the judge, the prosecutor. That's it. That's a PII hearing. Basically, it's intelligence in something. So when they're speaking about the PII hearing, and the judge is saying, well, what's it regarding? Why do you need a PII hearing? And say, because it involves a HIR. So I'm thinking, what HIR? Human Intelligence Resource. That's what they are. Human Intelligence Resource. Basically, someone planted to gather intelligence. That's it. And there's loads of them out there. And you've got these gangs, and listen to me, you've got these gangs, and these gangs aren't made up of solid kids. You know, you'll have 1 or 2 game kids, which is form the fear in the name. And then the rest are just little, you know, you've got the fringes, you've got the kids on the end that aren't really able to act 48 hours in a police cell without squealing the lungs out. Do you understand what I'm saying? And these are the kids that are placed as HIRs. They're ragged in, just like yous are. Yous are all ragged off your street. Few yous are nicked with weed, few yous are with this. You go into a police cell, you can handle it. You're okay. You're not even going to be approached to be a HIR. But they know, and they've watched the psychological damage that placing people in police cells does. And they can identify instantly, this kid's a tough cookie, this kid's not a tough cookie. Do you understand what I'm saying? And when they're going through all this process, they'll get the not so tough cookie into the interview room, not on record, not on anything, and go, look mate, got a little choice for you here. You can either continue to give us information about the group that you're participating with, or we're going to charge you today and send you to custody for 5 years. Trust me, 9 out of 10 are squealing. They're HIRs. You know, the little kid that just sat on the back seat in your car blazing weed, doesn't really communicate, just all ears. Be wary. Don't think they don't do it. They can do it, mate. I'm telling you now, HIRs, we had one. Who was ours? Tony Christian. That's who our HIR was, people in our case. Tony Christian. That's how we found out that we had an informer in our case. Tony Christian. I'm not lying, not hating on no one. It's facts. You know, we're going through our trial and they're talking about certain evidence. And the evidence was tight. You know, only someone close could know this. How the thieves know this? If it's not a bug, one of the boys is snitching, okay? This is what's going through my heads when we're trying to work out where they're getting this information from. If it's not a bug, one of the boys is snitching. That's all it could have been. So as I say, we're going through these courts. And because we've got a wrong'un involved, we don't know who the wrong'un is yet. Because we've got a wrong'un involved, they're using all these PIR hearings. And then what they were going to try and do was use the wrong'un's evidence against us without telling us the wrong'un's name and without putting the wrong'un in the dock, so we could try and, you know, question him about whether he's speaking truths or whether he's just lying. So the prosecution are saying, no, we don't want to disclose who the informant is. In this case, we don't want to bring him into danger. We don't want to. So Judge Madison, I'm in Crown Square in Manchester, so I've got the highest judge in Crown Square in Manchester, because the publicity in Liverpool, they transferred it out to Liverpool. So the judge in our case has turned around and said to the prosecution, I'm adjourning for lunch now. By the time, otherwise I'm acquitting the defendants from the dock this afternoon and they're going home. That's what the judge has told the prosecution. So we go downstairs now. We're 7 weeks through a trial, people. This informant's been writing us off. Trust me. So we go down for our lunch. We go down. We're all there. Me, Anthony Christian, Yinka, Bonehead, Paddy, and someone else, Mark Richardson, and someone else. And we're all in the dock. And the cells are what normally you go down, solicitors will come down, have a quick chat with you before you go and get your lunch, let you know what's coming up next, and So we all go on a legal visit, and then we all come back, but someone's missing. Anthony Christian's missing. Yinka. Why is he missing? We're all thinking, hang on, he must just be on a longer visit. He's not come back in all lunchtime. His sandwich and his biscuits and his crisps are still there in the corner for him for when he comes in, you know, his food. He hasn't come back. Next minute, we're called up to court without him. We haven't even had another visit off our briefs. We're just called up into court. Go into court, and I'm thinking, now, who's this snitch? Who's this HIR? Because that's what he was called, a HIR, Human Intelligence Resource. So who is it? Turns out, it's Tony Christian, Yinka's uncle, Kevin Wheatman's dad. So Yinka had been coming round us while we're doing homework on. And what he's doing is, instead of keeping his mouth shut, he's going back to where he's living with this Tony Christian, and telling Tony Christian everything. Then Tony Christian's going to the police and telling his handlers everything that Yinka's telling him. Yinka's in the blind about his dad being a snitch, or his uncle who is to him. He's in the blind about it. So I hope, do you understand what I'm saying? But Jordan, when this dad's a snitch, when this Tony Christian's informing on us, because he's informing on us for 2 years, it's not just like on this. He'd been given intel on us for 2 years, mate. It all came out in court, no need to lie. In that household, you've had a kid called Wheatman living in this household with this Tony. And every time a police handler is in contact with Tony, little Kevin's sitting there engaging with the daddy while he's engaging with the authorities. And years later you could see, because we knew, you could just see he's doing the same as Tony. You could see he was getting nicked with like 1,000 bits, Bobby and White, and a firearm, and getting discharged from the police station and not even going to jail. Obvious. Do you understand what I'm saying? So when you get the lamb and all them kids getting arrested for every CCTV image of the lamb and his conspirators and his people, Wheatman's on there, and he doesn't get arrested or charged amongst them. Goes to jail for something minor, do you know what I mean? But he doesn't go to jail for the big. And that's what they do with these new type of informers. They're not scared to bang them in jail for 6 months. Make them look legit. And that's not me hating on no one. You know, that's the truth of what happened in my court case. Tony Christian was snitching on us for 18 months. Came out in court. We had to, otherwise we were getting acquitted on the conspiracy to murder. And that's why Yinka got acquitted from the case. He was a cold D. He got acquitted. Never seen him again. Popped up like 4 years later when I'm out of custody trying to give me, because I'm telling everyone they snitched on us. And they couldn't handle it, you know. The whole Christian family, or the Broad family, the Christian family, they couldn't handle me telling the truth about their uncle being a snitch. So they all started thinking they were mad on us as well. Where's Yinka now? Based on Tailmere Road, in the same place as his uncle, mixing with the drug dealers like he's done all wrong. It's funny, innit, lad? Mad, mate. He's sitting with a gang of kids that call me a snitch. It's funny, lad. He's sitting with a gang of kids that call me a snitch, mate, and hilarious, mate.